Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to the session of domain. So today we'll be seeing about decision tree. Okay, so today we'll be seeing the decision tree in automotive analytics. So we'll be seeing what is meant by decision tree and what all agendas we have to see to complete a decision tree and how we are gonna implement this code. Okay, so starting, we're gonna see how this decision tree will be useful for us in automotive analytics. So let us go to agenda. So in the before going to agenda, in previous sessions, we have seen what is CRISP-MLQ. So the day one, day two, the EDA process, pre-processing process. And day four, we have seen the k-means clustering and KNN, right? So we have seen how we are going to implement KNN. So what is clustering, classification, and we have seen the difference of classification and regressions. We have seen difference of KNN and k-means. So these things we have seen. Okay, so and we have seen practically how k-means was important as to implement on this automatic analytics, how KNN was important. Okay, so these things we have covered in the last two sessions. So in case if you have missed any classes, you can always attend the sessions. Okay, the recorded sessions will be there. You can attend and get some ideas of about k-means and KNN. Okay, agenda. So what is our agenda is our madam? So agenda, guys, for today, agenda for decision tree, we'll be seeing the introduction of decision tree. So what is decision tree? What is the purpose of decision tree? What is the goal of decision tree? Okay, so we'll be seeing how we are going to implement this decision tree to the automative analytics and decision tree in machine learning algorithm. Okay, so how this decision tree will be useful in machine learning and how we are going to implement. So what is the purpose of that? And we'll be seeing what is the perfect definition of decision tree in machine learning algorithm and what are the libraries we have to input. Okay, so and what is the importance in automative analytics? So we have seen, so when we are going to apply this decision tree, we have to always see the what is importance in automative analytics. So we'll be seeing what are the important things that are related to automative analytics. And after giving all the things like introduction, decision tree in machine learning algorithm, and understanding the concept of this importance in automative analytics, we'll be jumping into the conclusion, guys. Okay, we'll be jumping into conclusion. We'll be seeing what type of things will be useful for us. So what is our conclusion in decision tree? Okay, so introduction. So guys, decision tree is a supervised learning technique. Okay, it's nothing but a supervised learning technique that can be used for both classification and regression problems. Okay, so in the last session when we did KN and k-means, guys, we have seen two types of machine learning. One is supervised learning method and another is unsupervised learning method. Right? I have given some examples too for that. So supervised learning means a teacher is teaching. Okay, a teacher is teaching the student. Okay, that is supervised learning. So unsupervised learning means the person who studies himself. Okay, that is an example of supervised learning and unsupervised learning. So decision tree is a supervised learning technique. Okay, which means it's gonna like a teacher is teaching and the student is learning. Okay, and this decision tree can be used for both classification and regression problems. Okay, but most probably it is basically most preferred used to solve classification problem. Okay, so main thing we'll be seeing classification problems only, guys, when we are going to do this decision tree and how we're going to implement this machine learning and all. Okay, and this decision tree, okay, this decision tree will be seeing what is the importance of that. Okay, so decision tree, guys, is nothing but a supervised learning. We have seen this. Okay, so decision tree, after decision tree we'll be seeing the what is the useful of this decision tree. So decision tree is the most powerful and popular tool for classification. Okay, it's used for both classification and regression, but it is the most powerful tool for classification. And we can solve for prediction also. It is one of the best powerful tool for both classification and prediction. Okay, and a decision tree is nothing but, guys, it's like a flow chart like structure. Okay, it's nothing but a flow chart tree like structures. Okay, so like flow chart we know, right, for where each terminal will be having node denotes a test attribute, each branch represents an outcome. Okay, so each leaf node, terminal nodes will be having this type of things. So I'm going to explain it in examples. So before going to example, decision tree, I want to explain. Decision tree is the most powerful and popular tool. Okay, it's a popular tool for both classification and prediction. Okay, a decision tree is a flowchart like tree structure. Okay, where each internal node denotes a test on an attribute, and each branch represents an outcome, and each leaf node holds a class label. Okay, a decision tree for the concept of, like, I can say, the construction of decision tree. How the construction of decision tree is going to take place. A tree can be learned by splitting the source set into subsets. Okay, so we will be splitting the subsets. Okay, for a testing. So what does this mean by decision tree? So guys, as I said, decision tree is supervised learning. It's a non-parametric supervised learning method, which is utilized for both classification and regression. Okay, so moving on, we see it is called a decision tree because it is similar to a tree. Okay. It starts with the root node, which expands on further branches and constructs a tree-like structure. Okay, it is a decision tree because it is similar to tree. It starts with the root node, which expands on further branches and constructs a tree-like structure. Okay, a decision tree simply asks a question, and based on the answer yes or no, it further splits the tree into subsets. Okay, so what the decision tree is going to do? Okay, when we ask a question, so let me take an example. Is the person going to have an heart attack or not? Okay. So what all the reasons we have, like smoking and everything. Okay, if he's getting heart attack by smoking, if it is yes, we'll be having so many subtrees. In this, we'll be having subtrees, which is gonna calculate for. And if we go give no also, we will be having some subtrees. Okay, where we'll be having different type of classifications. Okay, and we'll be moving on with the roots and nodes. Okay, so this was all about the introduction of decision. Okay. Decision tree is a supervised learning method. It's nothing but use it for both classification and regression problems, but most probably it is used for solving classification problems. Okay, and it is called decision tree because it is similar to a tree. With let me say, it will be starting with, in a tree we know, right, how it will start. It will start with a root node. After root, it will be extends to further branches. It will grow to a plant, like that, right? So that process is also developed here in decision tree. Okay, and a decision tree is simply asks a questions. Okay, so after that we'll be seeing what type of things we can get in decision tree. As I said, we'll be getting yes or no in the further split of the trees. Okay, so the introduction of decision tree is done. So if you ask me what this decision tree is used for, I said, guys, decision tree or a non-parametric supervised learning method. It is used for classification and regression. Okay, so the goal of this decision tree. Okay, the goal of this decision tree is to create a model that predicts a value. A model that predicts the value of a target variable by learning simple decision rules inferred from the data features. Okay, so basically, guys, the goal of this decision tree is to create a model that predicts the value of a target variable by learning simple decision trees. Okay, simple decision rules and info from the data features. Okay, what is decision tree and its steps? So guys, as I said, the decision tree is a flowchart type. Okay, that starts with one main idea and then branches out based on the consequences of your decisions. Okay, so decision tree is a flowchart that starts with one main idea and then branches out based on the consequence of your decisions. It is called decision tree because the model typically looks like a tree with branches. Okay, it is called a decision tree because the model typically looks like tree with branches. Okay, guys. So that was the goal and what is the use of decision tree. And if you ask me what is the algorithm we have used in decision tree, the basic algorithm used in decision tree is also known as the ID3 algorithm. Okay, by Quinalan. Okay, so it is a ID3 algorithm. Okay, the basic uses ID3 algorithm. It builds decision tree using a top-down greedy approach. Okay, this is for greedy approach. Yes. So what are the decision tree and steps we have seen? So why it is called decision tree also we have seen. Okay. So why it is called decision tree? Because in decision analysis, a decision tree can be used typically based on what all the concepts we have. Okay. And a decision tree is used for decision making. As the name goes, it is uses a tree-like model of decisions. Okay. So that is the use of decision tree algorithm. Okay. So guys, we have seen what is the use of decision tree, and we have seen what is the use of decision tree algorithm. Okay. So if you ask me before going to the decision tree in machine learning, let me explain you about what type of decision trees we have. Types of decision tree. Okay. Types of decision trees. We have four popular types of decision tree algorithms. Okay. ID3 card. It's nothing but classification and regression trees, chi-square, and reduction in the value. So we have these types of decision trees. Okay. So these type of decision trees we have in decision tree, and we have some classification problems. Okay. So after that, we'll be seeing what are the two types of decision tree. Okay. So we have seen this, and we'll be implementing what are the reasons we need. Okay. So what are the 7 stages of decision making in decision tree? Okay. The first thing, guys, how to recognize this? Identify the decision you realize that you need to make a decision. Okay. Gather relevant information. The second step. Okay. So when we are doing a decision tree, guys, we'll be having some 7 steps, right? We'll be having steps for all the things where we're going to building something. Okay. So these are the, so let me say these 7 steps are very effective in decision making. Okay. So when we are building some supervised learning and unsupervised learning, also we have seen, right? Train and test split data, why validation is going to come. So if we get the underfitting or overfitting, how we are going to overcome that. So what type of techniques we are going to use? Are we going to use regularization technique or hyperparameter tuning, transforming the data? So we have some steps. So after training and train and test, we're going to split our data. Why validation is going to come. So we have seen this. So that are the steps which are involved to solve any particular things. Okay. So we have seen how we're going to train our model. So we have different types, right? So when I ask you about CRISP MLQ, we have 6 stages, right? Data understanding and data cleaning. Okay. So whenever I said, so you can always go to a data science map, which is developed by 360DigiTMG, and you can get a information there. So we'll be having the first step is data understanding, data preparation, model evaluation, model deployment, monitoring, and maintenance, right? So why do we have that steps? Because that steps are involved to create a building of model. The deployment thing, you can say how to we are going to build a model, how we are going to utilize it, right? So that are the six steps we have. So same thing here, guys, for 7 ways. Let me say that we have some 7 steps, which is effective in decision making. Okay, so decision making is nothing but, guys, it is a process of making choices by identifying a decision. Okay, gathering information, alternative resolutions. Okay, we use step-by-step decision. Okay, we use step-by-step decision making process, and we are going to help to more deliberate decision by organizing relevant information. This approach is, okay, the most satisfying, the alternative possible, I can say. Okay, so if you ask me the first step, okay, so first step is nothing but, guys, identifying the decision. Okay, as I said, there are 7 effective steps, right, of decision making. So the first thing is nothing but identifying the decision. So what decision you're going to say? The So guys, identify the decision. Basically, identify the decision means. So basically, we are going to build any model. Okay. So what type of model we are going to build? So what is our decision? Okay. So what will be our decision? So we're going to identify the decision, what we have. And the second thing will be saying what type of data we are So the first step is identifying the decision. Okay. Okay. So we have the first step is identifying the decision. And the second one we have is gathering the information. Okay. So the second step will be about gathering the information. So as we know, we have 7 steps in decision making. We have identifying the decision, and we have gathering the information. We'll be having identifying alternatives. Okay. And we'll be having weigh with the evidence. Okay. And the fifth one will be having choose among alternatives. Okay. Okay, we have the 7 steps as I said. And the fifth step we have seen is choose answers alternative. And the sixth step we'll be seeing is taking the actions. Okay, take action. And the next thing we'll be having is review your decision. Okay, review your decision. So these are the 7 steps of decision making. Okay, so guys, the 7 steps which is very effective in decision making is first we have to identify what is the decision we are going to take, and the next thing we're going to gather the information, and we'll be identifying the alternatives. We're going to weigh the evidence what we have, and we're going to choose the answers alternative, and we're going to take the action and review our decision. Okay, so these are the 7 steps which is involved in decision making. Okay, so we'll be seeing the next concepts. Okay, so what is the decision tree formula? So decision tree algorithm belongs to the family of supervised learning algorithm guys. Okay, unlike other supervised learning algorithm, the decision tree algorithm can be used for solving regression and classification problems too. Okay, so we have seen these types of things, and we have seen what are the limitations of everything, and we'll be seeing, is it okay? The question will be arising, is decision tree a model? In computational complexity, the decision tree model is the model of computation in which an algorithm is considered to be basically a decision tree. Okay, sequence of queries, the test, the outcome of the previous test can be influenced in the perform of the test. Okay, so guys, is decision tree a model? The question arises, right? The decision tree is a model of computation in which an algorithm is considered to be basically a decision tree. Okay, it's computationally. Okay, so what type of data is best for decision tree? Okay, decision trees are extremely useful for data analytics and machine learning. Okay, so decision tree are extremely useful for data analytics and machine learning. Okay, so decision tree guys. Okay, data analytics and this machine learning, because the break down complex data into manageable parts. They are often used in these feeds, the prediction analysis, the data classification, and regression. Okay, so these are the main things which is important for decision tree algorithm. So data analytics and the machine learning. Okay, so this decision tree, guys. Okay, so decision. Okay, so they're often used to these fields. So decision tree is basically used for classification and regression. We know that, right? So what type of data is for data this decision tree? Decision trees are extremely used for data analytics and machine learning because they break down complex data into more manageable parts. Okay, so guys, what is a type of this classifier in decision tree? So, as I said, introduction of decision trees, there are a type of supervised machine learning. Okay, so that is you explain what is the input and what is the corresponding output in the training data, where the data is continuously split according to a certain parameters. Okay, so what are the five process of decision making? So we have seen define, identify, access, consider, implement, and evaluate. Okay, so if you ask me, what are the five steps? The first thing is define, identify, assess, consider, implement. The last is evaluate. So these are the five processes of decision making. Okay, the decision it ensures that that is the best solution of the form. So the decision making process includes the following steps as we see: defining, identifying, considering, implement, and evaluating. So these are the things which is important for us, the introduction of decision tree making. So if you ask me what is the disadvantages or limitations of decision tree, a small change in data can cause a large change in the structure of decision tree, causing instability. Okay, so for a decision tree, sometimes the calculation can go for more complex compared to other algorithms. Decision tree often involves higher time to train the model. Okay, besides higher time to train the model. Okay, so guys, what are the things we have seen? Okay, the introduction. So decision tree in machine learning. The next concept we have here is decision tree in machine learning. So in a decision tree for predicting the class of the given data set, the algorithm starts from the root node of the tree. This algorithm compares the value of the root attribute with the record attribute, and based on this comparison, we are going to follow the branch and jumps to the next. Okay. Decision tree in machine learning. So decision tree is a supervised learning. We know that, right? It can be used for both classification and regression, but most probably used for classification, right? So what is decision tree in machine learning? A decision tree is a type of supervised learning method used to categorize or make prediction based on how previous set of questions were answered. Okay, so basically, the decision tree is nothing but it's a type of supervised machine learning used to categorize or make prediction based on how the previous set of questions were answered. The model is from supervised learning, meaning that the model is trained and tested on a set of data that contains desired categorizations. So supervised learning is nothing but which is based on trained and test. Okay, that contains desired categorization. So decision tree is a type of supervised machine learning, guys, which is used to categorize or make prediction based on how the previous of the questions are answered. Okay, and the model is form of supervised learning. So guys, supervised learning is the sense which we have an input and the output data. Okay, the model is trained and tested on a set of data that contains desired organization. Okay, so guys, is decision tree a machine learning algorithm? Right. is decision tree a machine learning algorithm? The question arises, right? So guys, decision tree are among the most popular machine learning algorithms, okay? Given the intelligibility and simplicity in decision analysis, a decision tree can be used to visually and explicitly represent decisions and decision making. Okay. So if we say it's a decision tree ML algorithm, guys, decision trees are among the most popular machine. Okay. These learning algorithms give the more intelligibility and simplicity. In decision analysis, a decision tree can be used to visually and explicitly represent decision and decision making. So how decision trees are used in learning? So guys, decision tree learning employs a divide and conquer strategy by conducting a greedy search. Okay, we're going to identify the optimal split points with trees. The process of splitting is repeated in top-down recursive manner until all the majority of records have been classified under a specific table of labels. Okay, so decision tree, guys. Okay, so decision tree, guys, we have seen the steps. Okay, so we have seen is a decision tree machine learning. So what is decision tree in machine learning? Also, we have seen. Okay, so why decision tree is used in machine learning? So the next question is going to arise: why this decision tree is used in machine learning? So the main benefits of using decision tree in machine learning algorithm is due to its simplicity, as the decision making process is easy to visualize and understand. Okay. However, decision trees and machine learning can become overly complex. Okay, so pruning tree structure is necessary. Okay. So what if decision tree is gonna not be used in machine learning? So is this decision tree a supervised or unsupervised? Guys, it's supervised learning. We have known it. Okay. So what is the principle of this decision tree? A decision tree is a graphical representation of all possible solutions. Okay, a decision based on certain conditions. Okay. A decision tree is a graphical representation. Okay. A decision tree is a graphical representation of all possible solution of a decision based on certain conditions. Okay. One each step of node represent a decision tree. We try to form a condition of the future. We are going to separate all the labels, okay, contained in the data set and to the purest form. Okay, a node which is divided into a subnode is called a parent node. Whereas subnodes are the child of parent node. Okay, that's a child. Okay, so guys, we have seen the 7 steps. Okay, the root node. Root node, it represents the entire population or sample. Okay, this root node represents the entire population or sample. Okay, and further gets divided into 2 or more homogeneous subsets. Okay, so let me explain it once again. Okay, so I think I was in mute, guys. So let me explain you from the starting. So root node, guys. So root node, it represents the entire population or sample, and this further gets divided into 2 or more homogeneous sets. Okay, further get divided into 2 or more homogeneous sets. And the next thing we have is splitting. So guys, in splitting, it is a process of dividing a node into 2 or more subnodes. Okay, it is a process of dividing a node into 2 or more subnodes. And the next thing we'll be seeing is decision. So guys, decision node is nothing but when a subnode splits into further subnodes, then it is called a decision node. So basically, when a subnode splits into further subnodes, then it is called as a decision node. Okay. Next thing we'll be seeing is leaf or terminal node. Okay. Leaf or terminal node. Nodes do not split is called as a leaf or terminal node. The nodes which do not split is called as leaf or terminal node. And the next thing we have is pruning. So guys, pruning. When we remove subnodes of a decision node, this is called pruning. Okay, you can say the opposite process of splitting. It is a opposite process of splitting. Guys. It is called as split. Okay, branch or subtree. So a subsection of the entire tree is called branch or subtree. A subsection of the entire tree is called branch or subtree. And the next thing we'll be seeing is parent and child nodes. A node which is divided into subnode is called as a parent node. Okay, a node which is divided into subnode is called a parent node of subnodes, whereas subnodes are the child of parent. Okay, where subnodes are the child of the parent. So guys, decision tree classifies by sorting them down to their form. Okay, the root of some leaf, terminal node, and with the leaf terminal node, we're going to provide the classification with the example. Okay, assumption while creating decision. So what are the assumptions while we making a decision tree? So below are the sum of the assumption we make while using a decision tree. So in the beginning, the whole training set is considered as the root. So guys, what are the assumptions where we can create a decision? In the beginning, the whole training set is considered as the root. Features values are referred to the categorical. Okay. The values are continuous, then they are discretized. Okay, the prior to the building of the model. And the records are distributed recursive on the basis of attribute values. Okay, these records are distributed recursively on the basis of attribute values. And after placing the attributes as root or internal node of the tree, it is done by using some statistical approach. This decision tree follows sum of product guys. So, okay, this decision tree follows, okay, this decision tree follows sum of product is nothing but SOP. Okay, sum of product. Okay, so the sum of product is also known as disjunctive normal form. Okay, it is also known as okay, disjunctive normal form. Okay, guys. So these are SOP. Okay, which follows by decision tree. Okay, so guys, SOP, sum of product is okay. So decision tree follows the SOP. this thing, and it is done by, it is also, the SOP is also called as disjunctive normal function. Okay, the normal form. For a class in every branch, okay, for the class in every branch, the root, the tree of a node, this leaf node having the same class is conjunction to the product which we are going to use, right? The different weightings, the primary challenges in the decision tree making. Okay, so what are the attributes? Okay, we have different attributes in selection. Okay, so this was about the decision tree, guys. How this decision tree is gonna work? So the decision of making strategic splits having affects a tree's accuracy. Okay, the decision criteria are different of classification and regression trees. Okay, decision of making strategic views, right? So it is very useful in this decision tree. Okay, so how we are gonna use that? Okay, so what is the purpose of that? Okay, the decision of making. So the first thing what I was explaining is how decision tree works. How do decision trees works? How does it work? The decision of making strategic splits heavily affects a tree's accuracy. The decision tree criteria are different for classification and regression trees. Okay. So normally we have seen what is decision tree, what is the purpose of decision tree, what is the goal of decision tree, and so on, right? And next thing we have seen is this. Okay, guys. So the decision tree always work with strategic splits heavily. It's going to affect the accuracy. The decision tree criteria are different for classification and regression trees. Okay. Decision tree uses multiple algorithms. It's going to decide to split a node into two or more subnodes. Okay. The creation of subnode increases the homogeneity of this, what we call the homogeneity of the things which is important. Okay. So guys, so the homogeneity of the resultant subnodes, the decision tree splits the nodes on all available variables and then selects the split which results in most homogeneous subnodes. Okay. So the algorithm selection is also based on the type of target variables. Let us look at some algorithms, guys, which is used in decision tree. Okay, so we have seen how decision tree works. Let us look into some algorithms used in decision tree. ID3, it is nothing but extension of D3. Extension of D3. And we have is C4.5, guys. So these are the algorithms which is used in decision tree. Okay. So successor of D3. You know, right? The successor and predecessor. Okay. And we have card, guys. Classification and regression. Classification and regression. And we have is change. Okay, so it is nothing but chi-square, automatic interaction, detection, performs until. Okay, performs until multi-level splits while computing classification trees. Yes. So chi-square automatic interaction, it's going to detect performance, the multiplication level splits until the computing classification trees. Okay, and we have Mars. Okay, the one more method is Mars. Is nothing but multivariate, adaptive regression splines. Okay, so these things we have. Okay, so if you ask me what are the steps involved, so what is attribution selection measure? So guys, we have so many things in decision tree. Okay, we have like entropy, information gain, Gini index, gain ratio. Okay, the chi square what we have. Okay. So let me explain you about what is entropy. So entropy is a measure of randomness of the information being proceeded. The higher the entropy, the harder it is to draw the conclusions. Okay. So that was all about entropy, guys. So we have seen. So let me explain you about that, guys. Just like an important thing. Okay. So there is attribution selection measures, right, guys? So what is attribute selection measures? If the data set consists of n attributes, the data set consists of n attributes, then deciding which attribute to place at the root or different levels of the tree as internal node is complicated step. Okay. For solving this attribute selection, right? For solving the attribute selection problem, researchers work and they develop some solutions. They suggest using some of the criteria like entropy, information gain, we have Gini index, we have gain ratio, we have reduction in variance, and we have chi square. Okay, so these are the suggestions which is given by some of the researchers to solve the criteria. So guys, if you ask me what is entropy, okay, so I will be knowing, we'll be having some class to learn what is the types of things which is done by researchers. So entropy, guys, entropy is a measure of randomness is in the information being proceeded. The higher the entropy, the harder it is to draw any conclusion of that information. Okay. Flipping a coin, if you ask me an example, flipping a coin is an example, okay, of an action that provides information of that is a random, maybe head or tail. Right? There's a no thing like decision. Okay. From the things you can consider what is meant by entropy. Okay. The next thing will be see is IG, guys. Information gain. Information gain or IG is a statistical property. In statistical property that measures how well a given attribute separates the training examples according to their target classification. The constructing a decision tree is all about finding an attribute, okay, that returns the highest information gain and the smallest end. Okay. So information gain or IG is statistical property that measures how well given attribute separates the training examples. Okay. According to the target classification, we'll be seeing constructing a decision tree is all about finding an attribute. Okay. Information gain. Okay. This information gain is a decrease in entropy. It computes the difference between entropy and it's gonna before splitting an average entropy and after splitting the data set is based on the values of ID figures. Okay. So if you ask me what is the formula of information gain? Information gain is equal to entropy before and is equal to minus summation k of j is equal to 1 of entropy j out. Before and after the entropy is the formula of this information. So where k is the number of subsets, so k is equal to 1, I have written, right? K is nothing but number of subsets. Okay. And j is nothing but subset of this. Okay. Subset j after this. And if you ask me what is about Gini index, Gini index. So you can understand the Gini index as a cost function, which is used to evaluate splits in the data set. Okay, it is calculated by subtracting the sum of squared probabilities. Okay, we're going to implement whereas the information gives smaller partition with distinct ones. Okay. Gain is equal to 1 minus summation of Ci is equal to 1 of Pi. Gini index works with the categorical target variable. Okay, it may be success or failure. It performs only binary split splits. Higher the value of Gini index implies higher inequality, higher heterogeneity. Okay, so what are the steps to calculate this Gini index? So the first thing is calculate Gini for subnodes. Calculate Gini for subnodes using the above formula. Okay, like this. Okay, success is P guys. Okay, calculate the Gini for subindex subnodes using the above formula for success. Calculate the Gini index for split using the weighted Gini score of each node of the split data. Okay, so CART guys, the classification and regression trees uses the Gini index method to create split points. So this CART also uses this classification and regression. Okay, this CART uses this classification regression trees also uses the Gini method. Okay, to create split points. So this was about Gini index guys. And next we are going to see is gain ratio. So gain ratio. Information gain is biased towards choosing attribute with a large number of values. Information gain is biased towards choosing attribute with a large number of values of. It means it prefers the attribute with a large number of distincts. Okay, it means it prefers the attribute with a large number of distincts. So guys, this C4.5, an improvement of ID3, uses a gain ratio, which is modification of information gain that reduces its bias, and it is usually the best option. This gain ratio overcomes the problem of information gain by taking into account the number of branches that would result before making this. It corrects information gain by taking the intercynic information of split buffer. Okay, so this was all about this ratio guys. Okay, next we'll be seeing is how this reduction in variance is going to work. Okay, so guys, reduction in variance algorithm used for continuous target variables. Algorithm used for continuous target variables. Okay, this algorithm uses the standard formula time. Okay, means the standard formula of variance. It's going to choose the best split. The split with lower variance is selected as the criteria to split the population. Okay, so it is very important. The split with lower variance selected as the criteria is to split the population. So if you ask me, what are the steps used to calculate the variance? Okay. We're going to calculate the variance for each node. We're going to calculate variance for each split. So how we're going to use this gain ratio, this reduction in variance is this. It is very important. It is one of the method which is important in decision tree algorithm. We know that. Okay, we have some like Gini ratio and everything. So why it is important? So these steps are very important, guys, in which you can say the importance of this Gini ratio. Okay. So next thing we have is chi-square. The acronym CHAID stands for chi-squared automatic interaction. It is one of the oldest tree classification methods. Okay, one of the oldest decision tree is the classification methods. Okay, so how to avoid this counter overfitting in decision trees? So when we are going to do this decision tree, how to implement this decision? Okay, so how to avoid counterfeit overfitting in decision? The common problem with decision tree, especially having a table full of columns, because they fit a lot. Okay, sometimes it looked like the tree memorized the training data set. Okay, if there is no limit set on decision tree, it will give you 100% on training data, because the worst case it will end up making one leaf for each observation. Because of this, it's going to affect the accuracy. When predicting samples, they are not in the part of training. So guys, how to avoid this? So let me write it. So how to avoid counter overfitting? In decision. So how to avoid this counter overfitting in decision? The common problem in decision tree, especially having a table full of columns. Okay, because they fit a lot. Sometimes it looks like the tree has memorized the training data. If there is no limit set on decision tree, guys, it will give you the 100% accuracy. Okay, the worst case is it's gonna work with each node. Okay, only for each observation it's gonna give. Thus, this affects the accuracy when predicting samples when they're not part in the training data. Okay, here are ways. Okay, so I have said how this decision tree is going to work for. So if you ask me, what are the ways, can you let us know? Sir? So here are two ways how to remove overfitting. One is pruning decision trees. The second one is random forests. Very important. Okay, to solve this question. So pruning in decision trees. Okay, the splitting process results in fully grown trees until the stopping criteria are reached. But the fully grown trees is likely to overfit the data, guys. Okay, that means one is the disadvantage. Okay, leading the poor accuracy on unseed data. In the pruning, you trim the branches of the tree, remove the decision nodes, starting from the leaf nodes, such as it's gonna go for overlaps. So decision tree, the segregated decision trimming data set is accordingly used to optimize the accuracy of prediction. Okay, that was all about this thing, guys. Okay, that was all about the random forest. So two key concepts that give the name random is, guys, the name itself is random forest. A random sampling of a training data set when building this. Okay, it's nothing but a random sampling of data set which is building on data. Random subsets of features considered when splitting nodes. A technique, okay, basically a technique is also known as barreling, which is used to create an ensemble of trees where multiple training sets are generated with replacement. Okay, so which is better, linear or tree of based models? So guys, well, it depends on of what kind of problem you're solving. If the relationship between dependent and independent variables is well approximated by linear model, linear regression will outperform the tree based on the. Okay, so guys, how this decision tree is going to work for scikit-learn. Okay, so data we have is supermarket data which one downloaded from free. Load the, so using this basic libraries, we'll be seeing how this decision tree is going to work. Okay, so guys, we have seen the decision tree thing. Okay, so in the session of tomorrow, we'll be seeing decision tree algorithm, the classification of algorithm. Why do we need decision tree? We'll be seeing decision tree in automative analytics, and we'll be seeing the code, guys. Okay, so you can see the code which I have used in decision tree, how it is gonna. Okay, the code, guys, how this decision tree will be useful in this automative analytics. Okay, so guys, so this was all about for today's session. We have seen what is the agenda of our automative analytics. We have seen introduction, decision tree, okay, the importance of that, and we have seen the introduction of decision tree. We have seen decision tree in machine learning algorithm. Okay, so we have seen decision tree classification algorithm. So the next thing, tomorrow's session will be see decision tree algorithm. Why do we need decision tree? Okay, so guys, in case if you have missed any session, I recommend you to go to the 360 digit MG YouTube and get all the recorded videos. So we have tons of domain which we have done this. So you can always go to that videos and search. Okay, if you want regarding Air Force, regarding Air One. Okay, so we have a lot of domain analytics, guys. So if you're interested in reading the blog, also you can get it. Okay, so the blog this will be published the data set, and always remember try to read the data side. Okay, so you can how to go 360 digit MG data science. Okay, you'll be getting different type of data science main members, not only this thing. Okay, so this was all about the decision tree what we have seen. Okay, so thank you for attending the decision tree algorithm. We are seeing different type of decision tree, guys. Okay, so we'll be continuing the practical things. Okay.